You've heard the saying, ignorance is bliss. There's a little piece of me that thinks occasionally ignorance can be bliss, but unfortunately, the longer you live in bliss, I think the higher the chances are that you wake up one day and realize, oh no, I have really jeffed everything, haven't I?
I have a client who just got an Aura ring. Many of my clients are in an Aura circle, which essentially means we all get to see each other's sleep score, which is very cool. And she just got an Aura and said, holy crap, I don't feel like I slept well, but yet my numbers show that I'm doing really well. I got an 87. That is the definition of perception versus reality, and it's really important for all of us to bridge that gap.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2037. Here is why accuracy is so important. So you heard Alan mention in the beginning perception versus reality. And that's what I was alluding to, talking about ignorance is bliss, because I think for a lot of us, again, there's the memes of, if I don't check my bank account, it doesn't matter how much money I have in there. Like the perception of, well, if I don't look, it doesn't matter. The reality would be more hurtful than me just guessing. I think that's just one of those very emotional ways to live. There's a scene in Parks and Rec. And I've referenced this before, but it's one of the best. And Ron Swanson is talking to Leslie, two of the main characters. Ron Swanson is a grizzled man. Loves his whiskey and his steak. And there was a conversation, and they were talking about the number of toes that they had. And he said, I have the number of toes that I have. Essentially alluding to the fact that he was missing one. And the moral to the story was there was something, I don't know what happened. He dropped something on his toe or something. And rather than going to the doctor immediately, he waited. And when he went to the doctor, they said, if you just came here when it first happened, we wouldn't be having this issue and you wouldn't lose the toe. I think that is perception versus reality. It's, well, if I don't worry about this, it'll just go away. Or the perception of, I'm not really going to worry about it. It'll take care of itself, when the reality of it is completely on the opposite front. So anytime I can put a Parks and Rec example story in, I'm going to do it. You're smiling. You're smiling a lot.
I am.
You were. Are you trying to drop the gloves? You want to drop the mitts and get the fists a-swinging?
No.
Is that what you're looking for?
Why, are you trying to?
I will. I'd love to. No.
All right, real quick.
Yeah.
Perception versus reality. I smile because there's still this part of you that, like, wants to be ignorant.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think accuracy is a pressure. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how. Let's talk about it. Well, we talked about that with clarity. We did an episode on how clarity is pressure. Clarity's awesome. Oh, okay, cool. You're clear. You know exactly what you want out of life. Awesome. Now, every time you don't do it, you get to feel like shit about yourself. And I think
100%.
it's similar to this too, where it would be, sometimes it sucks having to trade in some of your childlike tendencies or childlike desires, you know?
Yeah, fair.
That's all.
Well, that's the difference between an adult and a child, is a child doesn't have the responsibilities, right? What is the right amount of responsibility for a child? Okay, 2, 4, 8, 16, like, you're not allowed to drive until you're 15 and a half or whatever, but it depends where you live, by the way, of course. So when did you first get your license?
I got my license at 16. I think you can get your learner's permit at 15 and a half. So I got my license. I got my license right when you could. 16 or 16 and a half.
Same. I do believe that...
Which is fucking crazy.
That's what
now that I think about it. 16.
That's what I'm saying.
Bump that up. Let's bump that up a little. Let's get that maybe 20. Maybe.
Well, so any of the parents listening, they're going to have a lot to argue on both sides of that. Some of the parents are going to be bump that up. That's too dangerous. Some of the parents are going to say, I can't keep driving them around everywhere.
That's fair.
Right?
Fair.
So there's arguments on both sides. Okay, well, 18. Is that too young? See how everything's too much, too little?
Goldilocks.
All right, well, what about 7? Yeah?
7 years old?
7? Yeah, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm joking. All right, perception versus reality. Let's bring it back. When we were kids, we had the perception that our parents knew a lot. when we were children, we had the perception that our dreams and goals were possible. By the way, you and I have never had this conversation before. When you were really young, firefighter, police officer, astronaut, like what did you want to be when you were really young?
Professional wrestler.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Did you believe it was there a time when you were naive enough to believe that was possible for you? Because by the way, it is possible for you, but you'll see where I'm going with this. Yeah. Was there a time when the whole world was open to you before it started closing in as an adult?
Yeah, but not younger than that, I think. I think you lose it when you stop running around naked. You know what I mean? My nana used to tell me that.
So I've never lost it.
my nana was my father's mother. And while I never knew my dad, I knew her. I knew his mother. And she used to tell me all the time how I would just get naked when I was a little baby. I don't know how old I was, and run around the beach. And everybody loved me, and it's like strange. But back then, everything is a possibility. Everything is. Everything is a possibility. Everything's an opportunity. Yeah.
All right, real quick. When was the first time when you started to face reality of like, oh, this is not going to work out for me, potentially? This is a great conversation, by the way. I love this conversation. I didn't know we were going to go there, but
Same.
There is a point when you're a kid when you go, oh, I am fucked. Okay. Like, this isn't actually going to work, right?
I think it was when I graduated high school, probably. Before that, I didn't really... Going back to the infinite versus finite thing, like, for me, it was like, this is high school. This is just a finite thing, and then eventually we'll leave here, and then things will happen. But
things will happen. What's going to happen?
I don't know. I assumed stuff would happen.
Well, stuff definitely happens.
Nobody taught me. There was nobody in my corner teaching me like how it
when you were a kid, did you assume everybody knew stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like adults knew everything.
I assumed teachers. And again, if you're a teacher out there and you're doing good in the world, I love you. I'm not talking shit. I assumed all my teachers knew everything. I assumed all doctors knew everything. I assumed lawyers knew everything. I assumed everybody
compared
knew
to you, they did.
Yes.
Well, that's the cool part.
I assume they knew everything. I think for me, when I got my first job, the first job I ever had was not the gas station. The first job I ever had was at a butcher shop. And I worked there for one day. And I was like, fuck this, dude. I was doing dishes, and they're like, we need you to do them as fast as humanly possible. It's like, okay, yeah, fair. But also get them as clean as humanly possible. And I was like, you can't. You get one or the other. I can't do both. And I worked there for one day. My buddy Craig got me a job there. I worked there for one day, and then I no-showed them. And then my uncle went with me to get my paycheck because I was afraid that they were going to be mad at me.
No kidding. I was a busboy, and I am certain, in hindsight, that I was getting ripped off for sure. You know, you're supposed to count out the tips. So all the waiters and waitresses get together and they pool their tips and give the busboy a percentage. There's no fucking chance I wasn't getting ripped.
They give you a sleeve of Titleist balls on the way out. Here you go. Congrats.
Brother, it's literally like the house was packed. I'm running around cleaning everyone's dishes. It's like a nice golf course, so I'm not there's a lot of people with their nose up to me. Who's this kid just trying to take my food? Are you done with that, ma'am? Oh, fucking brutal, right? And at the end of the night, and you're getting paid under minimum wage because you get tipped out, quote unquote.
Yeah, quote unquote.
Right? Yeah, brutal. And that was.
What'd you get? How much were you leaving with?
Dude, there's no way. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I would leave with probably 100.
Was this 2007?
60.
$2007?
I was 16 years old.
2006, 2007?
No, 2007, we were 18, sir.
I wasn't. I'm young.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So 2005, probably. 2006. Yeah.
That was a lot of money back then.
Okay, fair. Yeah, we did okay. But I guarantee, the place was...
Well, that's how it goes.
Hopping. Okay, the place was hopping. Anyways, back to perception versus reality. we are so wildly inaccurate about our perception. And if you don't believe me, study the cognitive biases. There's a book called The Art of Thinking Clearly we just finished in book club. And it basically is 100 chapters showing everybody where they're thinking inaccurately. And Kev loves the book.
Huge fan.
But remember, from the outside in, inside out. So there are people that we've met, expatriates, cheerleaders, supermodel in Dubai, people famous in the greater Boston area, millionaires, 1 billionaire, all these people we've interviewed, Olympic gold medalists. I mean, we have met so many people from all over the world. Some of them we know well, some of them we know very well, some of them we know deeply, deeply, deeply well. Some of them I've coached. And I am telling you right now that the way that they are viewed from the outside in is significantly different than their life from the inside out. Significantly. I think the sign of someone who is extremely, extremely, extremely well developed is someone who tries really hard to live from the inside out. They don't try to. When I was the most immature, I was trying to put on a show and I was trying to make it look like I was happy when I wasn't. And I did that for a short time, and it was the darkest time of my life, and it was when I was miserable. But I was pretending to be happy because I was insecure about being miserable, and there's the whole men pick on men thing and all that stuff. And, you know, you got to look strong, otherwise you'll be ripped a new one, and that's definitely a thing. But as I've matured and grown, and as I've learned how to succeed in my real life, I've tried really hard to allow the outside in and inside out to look the same. That's what I hope it does. I know that it doesn't, right? There's someone I'm thinking of right now who's deeply insecure about her looks that everyone else thinks is a 10 out of 10. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. It's perception versus reality. So let me share why I think reality matters more than perception. I am so certain at this stage that if you are living in perception more than reality, you cannot make effective choices. I'll try to explain. For the long-term listeners, you'll recognize this. For any new listeners, this is my favorite analogy, maybe ever. I've been excited, and I know some people aren't, okay? I've been excited for self-driving cars for a decade. I'm a computer engineer. I went to a tech school. I worked for a robotics company called iRobot when I was very young. I am all for robotics, and I also understand people's fears. I get it, okay? But robots are coming. I come from an industrial automation background. I've been in manufacturing facilities that is just robotics, all right? So those are coming into our homes. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. It is what it is. Now, that said, I have wanted a self-driving car for 10 years. It has taken alarmingly longer than I thought it would take, because I think people are afraid of self-driving cars, okay? They don't know how they work. They don't realize that statistically they're much safer than human beings. Okay, that's okay. Don't villainize me for this. I have a point. Let's imagine for a second you're in a self-driving car. Everybody, we're all in a self-driving car right now. We're together. We're bumping. We're doing it. We're listening to some music. It's all good. We're rocking and rolling.
Singing gently.
Okay. So, Kev, the self-driving car, in order for it to get us to our destination safely, it needs 3 things.
Oh, here we fucking go.
Number 1, it needs an accurate current location. You see?
Mm-hmm.
That's self-awareness. Okay? So, perception versus reality. If it thinks it's a boat when it's actually a car,
into the drink,
into the off the cliff, into the river.
Yep.
Okay? Self-awareness, very important. The second thing it needs is an accurate destination location. You guys, everybody out there watching or listening, you ever order food and they bring it to the wrong doorstep?
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Until they get to know you. Yeah, you know what I mean? I frequent, not anymore, but I used to frequent some place. They knew, you can come right in. You don't even have to knock. Come right in. Come right in.
So they need, the self-driving car needs an accurate current location and an accurate destination location. You know what else it needs is an accurate update of the terrain. You remember back in the day, Kev, when we had something called Garmin?
Of course. I invested heavily in them.
Yes. No.
in my class. Not with real money, but it was a winner. Big winner.
So Garmin, for the youngsters out there listening, was GPS before phones had it.
Yeah, that was
and it was pretty terrible, honestly.
It was
in comparison to what is now.
It was atrocious. You had to make sure it was updated because it did not. It was.
You had to bring it inside, connect it to the internet.
It's a whole thing.
Bring it back out as a whole thing. But again, better than Maps.
Of course.
So, okay, and then there was MapQuest. You remember that?
Of course.
MapQuest, always wrong, brutal. Never got there.
Yeah, brutal.
So if the perception of the Tesla or whatever, I have a Tesla, so again. Self-driving car. If the perception of the self-driving car is that it's over here when it's actually over here, it's going to take a left turn and crash. If its perception is there's a mountain or a road when there's actually a cliff, it's going to drive off a cliff. If the perception is, hey, the destination address is an ice cream parlor and it's actually a, I don't know, wolf den, we're going to die or get eaten. Again, it's a metaphor. Terrible metaphor, but it's a metaphor. Here's my point. That is the base reason why ignorance is not bliss. If you are ignorant, Kev, let's say Kev knows nothing. Let's say he knows nothing about himself, nothing about others, nothing about the world. Okay, Kev, what's your goal, man? What's your dream?
Yeah, but see, the thing about bliss is you don't know that you don't know. So you don't worry about it.
But hold up. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You do feel stuck, though. You told me that. You're stuck.
Yes.
Why?
But you don't.
Why?
But you don't know why. You don't know why you're stuck.
Why is that good?
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying there is a slight. I understand the whole ignorance is bliss thing. I get it. I understand it.
When you were in your mid-20s, you had suicidal ideation because you felt stuck. You didn't know how to get out. Okay, let's say I took away all your knowledge. You know nothing about yourself. You know nothing about others. You know nothing about fitness. You know nothing about goals and dreams. You know you're not hyperconscious. You're on autopilot. Okay, let's say you have very low education. You don't know much of anything. You're not aware of how to fix a home. You're not aware of how to fix cars. You're not aware of how to get a job. You're not aware of how to do a resume. You're not aware of how to talk on a podcast. You're not aware of how to tell a compelling story. You're not aware of how to sell or market or brand or start a company. You're not aware of how to do any finances whatsoever.
So those are all currently pretty accurate to this day as well, so that's good. Okay.
That's not true.
Go on.
Okay. All right. You're stuck.
Yes.
Well, okay, what would you do? What would be the first step?
Probably rob a bank, maybe. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Brother, really, seriously, what would you do?
I don't know. I would probably do nothing. That's the truth. I'd probably do nothing. I mean, back in the day, what did I do? I tried to make more money, assuming that would fix all my problems. And then when that didn't, I had a mental breakdown and then ended up going in this direction. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Probably nothing constructive. Okay. I would probably escape into vice.
Yeah.
Which
wow. That's
in the moment feels really freaking good. Until it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I just can't. I don't know for anybody out there when it goes from it does till it doesn't. I think it depends. I could have a whiskey tonight. It's not going to affect me. I'm going to go hit legs tomorrow. It's not going to affect me perceptibly.
Okay. Yeah.
It will in some way.
It will affect you. Yeah.
But is it? Do I care if how much it's going to? I don't. I mean, I do. That's why I'm not doing it, right? But like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because I think it's hard with awareness when it's like an all. I'm not saying you're doing this because you're not, but like an all or nothing.
So let's imagine you don't like your body. Let's imagine you are out of shape and you don't like it and it bothers you every day. And let's imagine you know nothing about fitness. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. Like,
but
I'm so pro knowledge, it's not even funny.
I know. But there's
like
a lot
awareness is everything.
There's a lot. I agree. I'm not saying that's not the goal. All I'm saying is I just understand why ignorance is bliss. Because if you know exactly why things aren't happening and then you don't do anything about it, I think it's worse than you not knowing why they're not going well and not doing anything about it. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced.
Wait. Say that again? Because by that rationale, you would stay ignorant on purpose. Hold on. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if I can remember what I said. I just got a massive migraine all of a sudden. I've gone too far. I'm convinced knowing how to do it and not doing it is harder than not knowing how to do it and feeling stuck.
I don't agree with that at all. Because first step is be stuck. Okay, we're all born, we don't know shit. Everybody knows that, right? Nobody's born with knowledge.
That's fair.
Okay. So then we go out into the world and we learn from our family, from our school, from our experiences, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to walk, you learn how to play sports, you learn how to talk to people, you learn whatever language you learn. And so you go from completely ignorant, you know nothing about yourself, others, in the world, to then you have some awareness. And when you have awareness, you make better choices. And when you make better choices, you have more effective outcomes. You have more control over your own life. You have more ability to, okay, when you and I go back and we look at messages that we sent to girls back when we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Not good.
Yeah, brutal. You just didn't know anything. Like, I'm 36 now. I know how I've coached a ton of amazing, incredible, empowered women. I know how women think. Not all of them. I don't know everything, but way more than I did at 16. Like, I could go back and talk. If I was my mentor at 16, I would be able to help him so much.
For sure.
All I'm giving is awareness. Like, awareness is perception versus reality. I would basically just be telling him, hey, this is what you think about yourself, and this is actually the truth. This is what you think about other people, and this is actually the truth. This is what you think about the world, and this is actually the truth. Okay, now you can go win more. You can go succeed more.
But
right?
There is a pain that comes with seeing behind everything that's pain. It's like being on the opposite side of the carnival. Like, you go behind the scenes of the carnival. You go behind the scenes of the theme park. And you see, like, oh, it's kind of fucking dark back here.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That's all I'm saying is I can understand.
Yeah, there's a price. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not better. I'm not saying awareness isn't the thing. Like, trust me, that is, you know me. Awareness is everything.
What do you think of the stages? Stage 1 is naive, just ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is childish bliss. Okay. And then after that, you get awareness, which makes you kind of sad and, that's kind of dark. And that was wrong. Something's wrong about that, right? And then you become cynical. This is at least the phases I went through. I get cynical, and then I get cynical and nihilistic, which is, okay, well, what's the point? If the world is so screwed up, then what's the point anyway? And then you realize that that's terrible, so why not make it better? What if I make it better? I can make the world better, of course. Mm-hmm. And then I think those are just the stages of everyone's journey. You know, nihilism, if you look it up, is basically hopelessness. It's, well, there's no point. It's helplessness and hopelessness. Nihilism is basically, I might as well drink because the world is, messed up anyway. But that's not wisdom.
No, I know.
Like, if everyone does that, we might as well, we're all screwed, right? There's a lot of wonderful, I'm so convinced there's so many awesome people out there trying to make the world a better place.
For sure.
And we just happen to hear a lot more about the bad stuff because that's what the news is doing, is it gets your attention more.
Next Level Nation, we would love to invite you to our 18th round of Next Level group coaching. It is the Next Level Podcast Accelerator. If you are a podcaster who wants to level yourself up, level your podcast up, and level your business up, this 12-week program is perfect for you.
So we've done this 18 times. We've iterated and iterated and improved and improved. The first 4 weeks is level up yourself. The next 4 weeks is level up your podcast. The last 4 weeks is level up your business, build a brand underneath your business. The promo code is NLU Listener, all one word. Put that in at checkout for 30% off. It comes to less than $25 per session for the 12 sessions. Kevin or I will be on every single one of them. We hope to see you there.
That is literally what my giant tattoo is. It's an angel and a devil playing chess for control of the world, and the devil is winning. And that was like my thought process behind it.
Can you take us through your stages?
What were yours?
Ignorance, for sure.
That's
I mean, we're born
definitely mine.
ignorant. Yeah, ignorance is the start. Then it's awareness, but like sadness. Awareness. I said this to a client recently. You know how I know you're growing? You're very sad. You're very sad. This is when you know you're growing. When you're sad for others more than you're happy for self. That's when you know you're really growing.
I don't agree with that.
Because I'm very sad for others, but I'm very empowered in self.
It depends on your perspective.
Okay, talk to me.
You're always surprised when like you find something out about someone. I'm like, dude, of course. What did you think? I think it depends on what your relationship with understanding humans is.
Well, so you're going to achieve a lot of your goals and dreams, right?
Yes. That's the goal.
Okay. That's the goal, yeah. And you have a high degree of certainty that you know how to do that, and or are going to figure out how. Everything's figure outable, quote unquote, within reason. Okay. When you are around people who you know aren't going to achieve their goals and dreams and they're going to struggle forever, that doesn't make you sad?
I don't think it makes me any more sad than it did in the beginning, no. No, because again, I'm convinced that you could sit someone down and give them the exact steps to do, and they're not willing to trade in certain things to do it.
There's no way that's true.
I think it is. I think it is.
There's a way with anyone.
I know.
There's a way. You just haven't figured out how to get through to them yet.
It's not my job.
That I agree with. We're on the same page about that. Yeah. I'm not running around saving everybody.
I know.
Okay.
But it just doesn't
There
surprise
is a way.
me.
Just because you haven't figured it out doesn't mean there's not a way. Like anyone can transform.
I understand, but I'm playing the statistics game on it.
Yeah.
I'm always playing that.
Anyone can, but not everyone will.
Anyone can if they're willing to do their own unique, if they're willing to escalate through not knowing and then realizing you don't know and then fear chasing and then starting to build belief and then understanding like, I'm starting to believe in myself, but I fucking have no self-worth. Like, what's that about? I need to work on that. I just think the process of getting up to the stage takes so freaking long that I think a lot of people aren't willing to do it. That's just what I'm convinced of. Not saying people can't. I just think that...
Do you think they should?
If they can get to the point where they know it's worth it, yeah. And I'm convinced if they could get to that point, then they would do it.
Right.
That's the issue. I think that's the biggest issue.
How would you... Okay, all of our listeners out there watching or listening, let's assume for a second, just hypothetical, that all their dreams and goals are possible. Let's assume they're all reasonable goals and dreams. Okay. How would you help them see that it is worth it?
Probably paint let's sit down and talk about what you want your future to look like. Like, let's get really specific. Not what do you want, how do you want to exist? How do you want to show up? What do you want your days to look like? What do you want your nights to look like? How do you want people to feel when they're around you? Who do you want to go to sleep with? Where do you want to go to bed? Like, where do you want to get up? What do you do first thing in the morning? Let's talk about that. Not what we're going to acquire as humans. That doesn't matter that much. Yes, it helps with quality of life and you can buy nice shit, but that's going to get old. How do you want to show up as a human? Cool. If I could guarantee that's where you show up, this is where things get wonky, and Alan and I have disagreements. If I said it's in 30 fucking years, that number goes down tremendously.
Yeah, but it's not in 30 years.
That part
what if it's in 30 years for all of it, but what if you can get 1% of it tomorrow and then 2%
that ain't
of
enough. No, that ain't
Seriously?
enough.
Seriously?
No, that ain't enough.
But this all comes down to you go to the day, I go to the lifetime. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's the future. So to me, it was always, and again, we're taking you guys behind the scenes, guys and girls. I would go to the true North Star, and then my life would be a byproduct of it. You would go to the day you want and then try to design that.
Yeah, because I don't know what the life's going to look like.
but you have a vision board on your desktop background. The problem is, and this is the journey versus the destination conversation, and I know we're perception versus reality, so I'll bring it back. But Kevin and I at Next Level Live, we pulled up our vision boards. And Kev said, hey, everybody at Next Level Live, shout out to anyone who came to Next Level Live, by the way. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for being there. It was awesome. And thank you for staying for the full 6-hour day. I mean, that was unreal. And for those of you who do want access, reach out to us. Because, Kev, I know you wanted to announce this. For people, there was someone who reached out and said, hey, I couldn't make it. Is there any way I could buy the...
Yeah, somebody reached out and they said, can I buy it if I didn't register and I didn't come? I was like, I think so. So yeah, we're going to put it on the website.
Yep.
As like a course.
And so for everyone who did attend, we are not giving this away to anyone for free. Okay? We want to... Okay.
Yeah.
But they can... If you are out there watching or listening and you want... so anyone who did buy a ticket, you're going to get the whole thing like we promised. For no extra charge, your ticket counts for that. For anyone who didn't come and didn't buy a ticket, we are going to sell it for the same price as everyone who attended paid. Okay? We want to make sure that we're fair on that.
And if you attended, you got more value anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you got the breakout sessions and all that stuff. So, yeah.
100%. Okay, so where was I going with that? Okay, so there was a part during Next Level Live where Kev said, okay, everyone in the chat, I want you to guess whose vision board is whose. And we put up 2 of them. One of them is cars and homes and a dream body and that kind of thing. That was Kev. Mine was a mountain with sort of mission, core values. I think it was metrics, subjects, and priorities. And some people, believe it or not, got them mixed up.
Right.
But the point that I'm making here is you have a vision board. You have this dream life that you're working toward. And you have to give up, in my opinion, again, I want you to come back at me if that's the case, but like, you have to give up perception in order to get those things. You're going to have to face every hard truth there is. For sure. In order to make effective choices, in order to get those goals and dreams. To you, that's worth it. Why to others is it not?
I don't necessarily know, because I don't know. There are other... maybe I have certain traits or characteristics or attributes that make it a little bit easier. The ability to look in the proverbial mirror and say, like, I really suck at this. I need to get better at that. That's a skill that's developed over time. And I just think that, I don't know. I don't know. Because I think what is required to be sacrificed in order to get there isn't worth getting there for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that, and it's understandable.
So it's not that the vision board is a bad thing or future orientation is a bad thing. It's the wrong vision.
Yes.
Right. So you would say, what would make it worth it? But here's the philosophical problem. You're not going to know if it's worth it or not until you go for it.
Well, I know, but that's why starting is the hardest part. I think that's why it's easy to get stuck, because it's like, am I going to have to give up?
This was going to take. If you could go back, what would you tell your younger self about this? Like, listen, if you could go back, and this is maybe paradoxical, this is very deep, it's getting hyper-conscious. If you could go back and knew everything it would take, I bet you wouldn't have done it.
It's possible.
So by the time you learn what it's going to take, you're already so far in that you're willing to keep going.
You might as well just keep going.
It's like Forrest Gump.
It's possible.
Came this far.
I didn't know
this
was going to be so hard. I had no idea it was going to be this hard. With everything, like fitness and relationship. Tara and I had a talk today. It's like, I'm out here jeffing. We're doing a rebuild, but we haven't had a date night. I don't see her during the week, like ever. It's fucking 10 o'clock on a Friday. She's going to be sleeping. I haven't seen her. I've seen her today, but not really. You know, I've been working all day. So I didn't know this. But now it's like, oh, okay. Now I'm at a place where hopefully I have enough skills and enough emotional intelligence and enough vulnerability and communication where I can fix that. Cool. We'll work on that. What needs to shift? But it's way... For every one thing that gets accomplished in the external world, there's like 10 awarenesses that have to get broken down. So much of this it's just an internal game.
But here's what you get. You get self-belief and self-worth.
I know.
And you get self-esteem and self-respect.
You don't have to sell me.
No, I know. I'm not selling you. I'm selling it, though. I am. I am. I'm selling it. Reaching
I
your
think-
potential. I'm convinced.
I don't think you start there though.
No.
I think you
as
start-
you climb, you gain self-respect.
For sure.
And you gain self-esteem, and you gain self-worth, and you gain self-belief through struggle and challenge and failure and facing yourself and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you get help, therapy, coaching, whatever. But, like, it is better than the alternative, I think. Like, it is. It definitely is. I'm convinced. It is better than the alternative. But it's going to be brutal.
It's better, but it's not like you think it is.
That's for sure. That I agree with. We agree 100% on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think it's
definitely not what people think.
It was better for me for sure, but I understand growth is hard. Growth is so hard. It's so hard to look at all your inadequacies.
Yeah, you and I, years ago, we said, is there ever going to be a time where we look at a challenge or a problem we're facing in business or in life where we don't sit there and go, yeah, I just have to get better?
Probably not.
Dude.
And that's heavy.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's heavy.
That's the truth, though, because
I know.
That is the only constructive thing you can do.
But if you're somebody who has, for your entire life, not felt good enough, the last thing you want to say is, that's a hard reality to face. That's a really freaking hard reality to face.
How do you do it? Like, you never felt good enough. That's why I'm always asking.
I'm the man now.
No, but seriously.
I didn't have any other choice. You and I started this. Honestly, it's because I love this. This is a dream. This is my dream. Not all of it, though. Not this part. Not the 10 o'clock recording on a Friday. Like, this isn't part of I didn't know this was going to be part of the dream. I don't think anybody did. Or you probably did, you son of a bitch. But but everything that comes with that is awesome. And yes, I fully agree. The what's the word? The other side, the opposite. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Paradox?
No. This is so much better than the alternative.
Oh, the alternative.
So much better than the alternative. But if I didn't get all the way to hell no, suicidal ideation, getting heartbroken, having an eating disorder, like all of that, dude, would I have been willing to push the chips in and say, let's give this a shot and see what happens? There was nowhere else to go. I was as low as you can get. So I think that's a big piece of it. We always, this is the last thing, and then we're going to go, because if I don't go to bed at 10 o'clock, I got to get up at 6 to do legs. I'm going to be fucking grumpy tomorrow. We talk about this a lot, the pain-pleasure pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine one of those
we haven't
old
talked
school...
about that in a minute.
I know, it's been a minute. Imagine one of those old school clocks your grandparents had. One that had the thing that hung down and swung back and forth. Bing, ding. The pain-pleasure pendulum is a thought that we had, that the further it swings to one side of pain, the more you're able to swing it back in the opposite direction in a similar way towards pleasure. This was always my example. You go to work on Monday. Worst fucking day ever. Worst fucking day ever. One of two things happens. Either you quit Monday or Tuesday gets a little bit better. A little bit better. That's better than Monday. It's better than Monday. Wednesday.
Still terrible.
Still
but
terrible.
better.
Wednesday's hump day. Halfway home. Thursday's Friday Eve. Close enough. Friday comes. Fuck it. Let's tear it up. Saturday and Sunday we'll escape. Monday, same shit. Blah, 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 blah. If on Monday you get into a fist fight with your boss, you're going to quit that thing because it swung all the way, and you're more likely to say, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to do something completely different that I'm not even freaking qualified for. I'm on one right now. I just went through hell at this last job. I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. I think at times we get stuck kind of in the lukewarm middle of, this is bad, but I'm not going to make any massive shifts here, and I'm certainty driven. I don't want to take any big risks. I think the further you swing into pain, but here's the thought. The further you swing into pain, either yes, you can catapult back over to pleasure, or you get stuck there for a while. And I think that's when we talk about lack of self-belief, lack of self-worth, lack of community. It's a deep conversation for sure, because there's a lot connected to it.
Here's the last piece for me. If you don't know what the next 5 years are, okay. You and I have this conversation often. It's hard, it's tough, we're having a hard time, we're challenged, okay. But it's all relative.
100%.
And it's not nearly as hard as it was at one point. At least we have money in the bank and that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. As it gets, okay, so just for perspective, anyone out there watching or listening, there was a time when Kevin and I were getting only 4 listens a day. The entire first year, we only had 1,057 listens, which again, all things considered, not that bad. Okay?
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Now, we get more than that sometimes in a day. Okay? So what we accomplished in 52 weeks, 52 episodes, we now accomplish a lot in a day. Here's the paradox. Here's the problem. If someone isn't convinced that it's going to be better eventually or worth it, they're not going to find out that it actually would have been.
Yeah.
This episode opened with my client who just got an Oura ring, perception versus reality. She thought she was getting bad sleep, and the data shows an 87. It shows that she actually is getting good sleep. Here's the deal. Either the data's wrong or she's wrong. What if her sleep has always been good, but she's never compared it to anything objective? What if back in the day when you only slept 4 or 5 hours, you thought, okay, it's not that bad. Well, now you are aware of what it's like with 9 hours. So now you know that you were jeffing before. That is the base problem of humanity, is we don't know what we don't know until after we know. And then we can look back. That's why I'm always talking about my regrets.
Yeah.
Because in hindsight, it's very, very obvious. Why does that matter? If I can look back at the past and learn from it, I can now change right now. Everyone's sleep is what they have experienced. Oh, yeah, I'm getting bad sleep. Compared to what? What if your bad sleep is my good sleep? What if my bad sleep is your best sleep you've ever had? What if you feeling right now as an athlete, what if you feeling really good right now physically? What if that's my 4? What if your 10 out of 10 physically is my 4? Right? We don't know. Everything's relative. This is Einstein's theory of relativity. Here's my point. There's something called a bow tie where you put level 10 effort in the beginning for 0 results. And then you put level 9 effort in for 1 result. And then you put 8 and 2, and then 7 and 3, and then 6 and 4. And eventually it flips. And eventually it's like, holy crap, I'm putting level 5 effort in, and I'm actually getting level 5 effort back. I would say we're almost there in business. Okay, we're almost there. Because we used to put level 10 effort in the beginning and get 0 results. It's also because we were ignorant and didn't know what the hell we were doing, but that's where everyone starts. Okay, then eventually it flips, and it's like, okay, I can only put level 2 effort in, and I'm getting 8 back. Okay, I can put level 1 effort in and I'm getting 9 back. Oh, I can put no more effort in and now I'm getting 10 back. And I used to use this as an example. Joe Rogan can never podcast again, and he will still be more successful than us for the rest of his life. Here's why. He started earlier. That's the compound effect. Here's the base problem. If you're not certain that you're eventually going to be able to enjoy your quality of life, why would you put in level 10 effort for 0 results? That's why math is so powerful. Nothing's wrong with you. If you're out there starting a dream, starting a business, starting a fitness regimen, starting a new relationship, whatever it is, the level of effort in the beginning has to be level 10 for almost nothing in return, except for a relationship because of the honeymoon phase, but that's a whole nother conversation.
The hard part, last thing before we get out of here, if you're somebody who values friends, family, relationships, and that type of stuff, that's where I think it gets stuck in. It might not be worth it. Because how long are you willing to potentially sacrifice those? That's where it's hard. I mean, it's easy for you and I to say we don't have that many friends.
Yeah, and we didn't have really big families either.
We didn't have really big family by design. For the friends thing, by design.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, no. I didn't choose the way my family went. That's just the way it went.
Hey, me neither, man.
But by design for friends, like you and I had the conversations earlier. I was like, brother, I know you think all these people are gonna be around. They're not. I'm certain they're not. They can't. It's not gonna work. I let go of that years ago. I let go of that a long time ago. How did I know? I don't know. But if I valued friends at 10 out of 10, I would be miserable.
That's
now,
fair.
Would we have done things differently? I'm sure. Or I would have said, dude, this ain't for me. I can't have both.
But I've contemplated that, and Yeah, I mean, for me, I would regret not reaching my potential more.
I wonder how many people out there would regret the opposite.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's all. Oftentimes Alan and I will get off here and it's like, wait, do I care? Kevin, do you care about growth at all on that episode? Like, no, I do. I want to make sure that we're not trying to get people directly, immediately to your end all the way.
Yeah, of course. No,
That's
I'm not
my
trying to
job.
get people to my end. Yeah, no, we're trying to find your own unique center point in all of this.
Well,
We're
it
sharing
starts
the whole
with that.
spectrum.
It starts with
I
self-awareness.
look around, brother, and I think a lot of people are very, very unhappy, and I've been there. And I think that, I'm certain of this, some growth needs to be a part of everybody's life. I mean,
That I concur with.
Some personal development needs to be, I mean, it's going to help. It's going to help tremendously, for sure.
Yes.
The question of how much and how often, and that's a whole nother
We're
story.
all in, so we're biased. There is all in, and we're all in, and we love it.
That's facts.
We love it.
Big fan, personal development, myself.
Yeah, same. But I do think a lot of things have aligned nicely for us to really go all in on it, and or we've aligned them. Right? Both, but cool.
Nice.
All right. If you're somebody who's looking for more personal development, even more than 7 episodes a week, even more than however long this episode was. I think this was like a 50-minute episode, maybe 50 minutes. This is a long one. We have a private Facebook group called Next Level Nation. There's posts in there every day. You know us at NLU. If we do something, we try to do it consistently. So there's posts every day, and it's just a cool place with positive people. So if you're looking for positive people in your life who are into self-improvement, that's where you can jam out on some personal development. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.